This is the Mind of the Meanie. Here are your hosts, the Blue Meanie and Adam Barnard.
Peace, world, and welcome everybody to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world, according to former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I'm your tour guide, a partially deaf Adam Barnard, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie! What's on your mind?
Oh, hectic.
Yeah, dude.
Hectic days.
Yes, sir.
Apologies to the Pod Squad for rescheduling this live recording. Just got stuff going on, but we're here, and it's a beautiful Sunday morning here in the world of Mind of the Meanie, and I'm happy to be here.
We are happy to have you, sir. Yeah, we had some things that came up, and as you know, if you've been following me on social media as well, I was hospitalized this week. I have something called mastoiditis in my left ear, which is an infection in the bone inside your ear. It has been fucking awful. I will tell you, full disclosure, it has been horrific. I am not having a good time, but we are back here, and we thank you for your patience while we're here. We see everybody funneling into the chat here, so thank you so much for your time. Meanie, it's always great to see you, my friend. Thank you.
Good to see you. Good to be seen.
And also happy daylight savings time to everyone who celebrates. That's a yo cuz right there for me, because I feel that seasonal depression lift off my fucking body as soon as the time changes, man. I'll tell you.
Likewise, my friend. Likewise.
Oof. So I love it, man. One thing I wanted to jump into real fast, I know we got a couple things we're going to chat about today. Don't forget, guys, drop your questions in the chat here for Ask Meanie Anything. We're going to do that at the bottom of the show here. It's always our favorite segment. But Meanie, I got to talk about this at first because, as you know, sir, you knew this before when we first met and before we hung out. I'm an ECW mark.
Oh,
and that's just who I am, sir. It's the Philly in me.
Yeah, of
it's
course.
how we roll. But I saw something interesting this week, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
yes.
2K25 released their list of downloadable characters that are coming over the course of the year. And a very interesting name popped out to me on that list.
Yeah.
Your friend, New Jack. And I saw it, dude, and I want to get your thoughts on it, but I saw it and I literally popped. I was like, this is unbelievable. What are your thoughts about New Jack being in 2K25?
Oh, I'm excited for his family. I had to do a double take. Just because it's kind of bittersweet. I know, despite what, Jack would say, I'm sure he would have liked to work there at least once. But he gets to be there now in digital form, which will live on forever. And kudos to WWE for doing that. Jack was one of a kind, hell of a promo, very charismatic, which, and dangerous, which was part of his appeal. He was one of the most believable characters in wrestling. But I'm happy for his family. I know they miss him each and every day. I keep in touch. We stay in contact on social media and stuff like that. But I couldn't be more happy for the family because and for the fans. New Jack, a whole new generation of wrestlers or wrestling fans are going to learn who New Jack is, and maybe we'll go back in the archives or go on YouTube or the Peacock and discover New Jack.
It's pretty dope, man. I remember when NXT announced the 2300 Arena show, and I was looking at the how they did the footage, and they obviously cheap, they mentioned my SI article on there on that promo, and then I saw the photo or the video of New Jack. I think he was either in the crowd or he was jumping on someone, and I remember stopping and I said to Mrs. Goober, I was like, that's a really big deal that they mentioned New Jack, because I think when he passed, I don't even think did they give him the graphic at the beginning of the show? I think they just had Paul Heyman do it at the end.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
They've spent so many years, unfortunately, shying away from him, and kind of keeping him in the distance. And it's really cool to see them embracing him as part of, because really, I mean, when you think about it, and a lot of ECW fans would probably agree, you can't think of ECW without thinking about New Jack, right? Like he was just such an integral part of that whole everything, that whole enterprise there. So it's pretty dope, man. I again, I did a double take as well, but I knew you would be excited to see that.
Jack's a great guy, man. He's just misunderstood.
Yeah.
You know, he spoke. If you knew where you stood with New Jack, and you know, he easily could have, not given me the time of day, but he was very kind to me. Helped me when I was there when I needed help. He stuck up for me more than a few times.
Yeah.
He was a great friend, and it's a shame before he passed, like during the lockdown. We were talking on social media, trying to figure out ways to do things to, so we can continue to entertain the fans. But you know, you know, dude, I was recording an episode of Mine and the Meanie when I learned of his passing.
Yeah.
It's crazy that to think that here we are 5 years later talking about him being in an official WWE game.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. It sucks that I had to learn about his passing in that way, but to find out he's going to live on forever digitally it's a full circle moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm glad to finally I'm glad to see him getting his flowers more and more each day. And it's awesome, especially again for those of us who grew up in that era, and someone who was as monumental as New Jack.
Yeah.
It's really quite awesome. So I'm very excited to play. I know somebody in here, Mass Sanity, is here and says I can't hear Natural Born Killers and not think of the Gangstas. There's a part of me, sir, that really hopes that WWE licenses that Dr. Dre song just because I don't want to hear no generic shit. Like I want to feel that when he comes out, like I want to feel it like just like I did in the 90s.
Well, Ice Cube's in that song too.
Yeah.
And his son, O'Shea Jackson Jr. is a huge wrestling fan.
That's right.
So maybe
Listen,
they could pull some strings and say, hey, do this for an OG, ECW wrestler.
Listen, man, I'm just saying, Mr. Jackson Jr., I know, listener of the show, fan of the show. We would love for you to assist with that. But man, and again, it's got to be, I hope they do it right. I hope they let the music play through the whole thing, because there's just something so dope about that. But good morning, everyone here. Just jumping in the chat real fast. Mass Sanity, good morning, good sir. Aaron Atherton, hey, Blue and Goob, good morning, sir. Hope everybody's doing well. Aaron says, my week got better after Tuesday. Dealt with a toothache. Can't have a toothache. If the tooth ain't there, that's true. Yeah. Can't have any pain if it's not there. Good morning, the Bowel Scoober. Good morning to you, my friend. And Mass Sanity says, for no reason known to me, New Jack was following me on Instagram. Lucky. That's dope, man. I love that. So
yeah, dude, I had the mother of all toothaches like 2 weeks ago, and I think it's 2 years ago I had the mother of all toothaches. And I think if I eat certain sweet things, it just flares up. And I don't really eat sweets all that much.
Yeah.
Even every now and then I have like a Reese cup or something like that, just for the hell of it. But like I had some ice cream, I had some Ben and Jerry's, and for whatever reason, my back tooth, my tooth on the back on the left-hand side was just killing me. And then, it went away. I was like, man, I hope that, I wonder if that was the ice cream, but just, him talking about the toothache, it just, brought that to my, my toothache, your earache.
Dude, it's the shits, man.
Yeah. My right ear's clogged because it's that time of year,
Yeah.
Goofy shit.
It's been like I said, it's been a rough couple of days, man. I don't even really know when this started. Like, well, I mean, I do, like, because I had the flu. Y'all remember I was sick a couple weeks ago, and then I think it was Thursday morning they gave me some kind of medicine on Wednesday, something new to beat whatever else was in my chest. And Thursday I woke up and I couldn't fucking hear anything in my ear, and so went to the ER on Friday. just because I couldn't get a hold of my ENT. And they're like, oh, we'll give you some Augmentin, whatever, we'll take care of it. And then nothing changed. So I went in on Monday. I think I messaged you. I think I texted you or messaged you on Facebook. Like, yeah, I'm just going to go in and get checked out again. And I go in and they're doing blood work and shit, which is like the bane of my existence, right? I just don't take any blood in my body. I fucking hate it. And they're doing the CAT scans and shit. And they're like, oh yeah, we're going to keep you for a couple of days. Is that okay? And I was like, well, I guess it's going to have to be, right? Because they're coming in. They're like, yeah, we're really concerned about what we see on the scan on the side. So turns out, like I said, it's something called a mastoiditis, which is an infection in there. And they were like, there are some really serious complications that can come from it. So I'm glad I went in when I did. Like, I was very happy that I was able to get in and get assessed. But being in the hospital, man, is not. They ripped all my fucking hair off, dude. Look, like, I don't know if you can see it well, but like that hospital tape is like gorilla glue grade shit, and it fucking took huge chunks of my hair off. So it was deeply unpleasant. But what's not unpleasant, sir, is more news. About, well, first of all, if you also too, I'm advocating out there as well, since New Jack is in the game. One real quick final thought on that. I really need a set of BWO Mattel Elite action figures. So Steve Ozer, I know you're listening out there. Action figure attack from Mattel's line. We really need a BWO set this year. But anyway, I digress.
Me too.
There's been some news about Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame inductees. We know that Triple H is in, Michelle McCool. Two names came up recently. One was recently announced, Lex Luger, and rumored is the Natural Disasters. So I wanted to know what your thoughts were on Lex Luger's induction in the Hall of Fame.
Oh man, Lex Luger deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Not only for everything he's done, is just everything he's done to inspire people after post career with his I don't even call it an accident, but like everything that happened with him losing his ability to walk and stuff like that. And but Lex, man, he hell of a career. First started out in professional football like a lot of wrestlers back in the day did. Play for Green Bay Packers. I think he played Canadian, or he might have played in USFL. Comes over to wrestling, in the Florida territory. Has a great career there. Then goes up to Crockett, and eventually joins the Four Horsemen. And then through that, he had a couple heel babyface turns. I always know Lex as one of the better United States champions, and then he goes to WWE, and famous for the Lex Express, which back in the day for WWE to do that campaign, when business was like down, business was kind of down. Spend that money on a bus and have him do this campaign across America. They must have believed in him quite a bit. And of course it didn't work out, but he was an integral part in the Monday Night Wars. When he just showed up unannounced on Nitro when everybody thought he was still with the WWE. I mean, he had just wrestled a WWE show, and then the next night he's showing up on Nitro. And that was like one of the early launching points into the Monday Night Wars. So Lex, hell of a character, a hell of a look, talented, and deserve. He totally deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I was very glad when I was a kid. Like I said, I was a 90s kid. So when Hogan left WWE, it was all Lex Luger. And the Lex Express, I mean, as a kid, any of the 90s kids out there will tell you, the Lex Express was the shit, and we loved it. Like me and my brothers, we ate it up, right? And I never understood, even still to this day, why they didn't pull the trigger on him being the champion. I don't get it.
They teased it. They teased it. They even went as far as at a TV show, did a bit with Jim Cornette. Because Cornette was managing Yokozuna and he had the belt with him. He's like, well, let's see what Lex Luger looks like with a belt.
That's sad.
And they had him do a full entrance with the belt just to see how the crowd would react. And that came up on the WWE Vault or it might have been their YouTube.
I think so, yeah.
Or on the network. Either way, they did a test run just to see how he would look doing an entrance wearing the WWF belt when he wasn't the WWF champion. So they were leaning towards it, but I never heard why they never pulled the trigger on him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was crowd reaction or maybe Vince just wasn't feeling it. Everything seemed like it was going in that direction. So I never understand that. And I think it was me personally, again, y'all can think what you want, but me personally, I think that was a huge missed opportunity for WWE not to pull the trigger on him and put the title on him. But
yeah,
that first Nitro, man, like it's hard to argue his influence in that Monday Night Wars because he really was kind of the catalyst to that was pre-NWO when he jumped, right? Like he was the catalyst to kind of like popping off that war a little bit with Nitro. Yeah. And I think that was, it's hard to ignore that contribution to the entire thing. Mass Sanity says, don't forget that Luger first worked for Vince in the World Bodybuilding Federation. You are correct.
That was a little loophole.
Yeah.
Because it didn't go against his non-compete, with WCW. And as a kid, he had their first WBF event was in Atlantic City. And as a kid, I went in and I went to the first WB event. They had a convention too. And I got to go to that. I got some photos from that with like Ultimate Warrior and Mean Gene, and they had some of the wrestling personalities there as well. And I went to the first event. And it was interesting.
Look at those striations and those muscles. Love it. Andrew Bailey's here. Hey now. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it lets Lex Luger, I feel like, is way overdue for this induction. Happy to see it. And DDP is going to be a saint when he like when he goes to heaven, right? Like that man.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. Like the things that the guy does, just to do it because out of the goodness of it, make him a saint. Make him a fucking saint.
Yeah, while he's still here,
Yeah, celebrate the guy while he's here.
They already put him in the Hall of Fame, which, DDP deserves.
Yeah,
all the things he's done for, the wrestlers. It's hard to argue against, him being canonized.
Really is. I've said it many times. DDP needs sainthood. It's true. That guy is a legend. But what do you think? Because I know they haven't necessarily announced it yet, but there's rumors and things like that the natural disasters, earthquake and typhoon, are going to be inducted as well. What do you think about that potential induction? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm friends with Fred Ottman on social media, and he posted a graphic on his social media. So I don't know if he accidentally leaked it before it was supposed to be out, but yeah, why not? I mean, earthquake and typhoon, I mean, they were a hell of a tag team.
Yeah.
Tag teams, the best thing about tag teams are people who look like a team. You think of the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal had a similar look, but they're slightly different. Midnight Express had a similar look, but they're slightly different. Earthquake and Typhoon, Fred Ottman and
John Tenta.
Yes, John Tenta. Two of the nicest guys too, who look like they could scare the crap out of you, but they had a similar look, that big, hoss, looking look. Yeah. And hey, they had a great run with the WWF, then WWF tag team titles.
Yep.
I mean, the run was short, but when you go back in time and you think of some of the great, tag teams and factions, there's a few that had, short runs, Road Dogg brings it up quite often that DX, for everybody, everybody talks about DX and their impact on wrestling. It only lasted maybe roughly 2 years,
That's crazy to think
when
about.
you think about it, when you go back in time and you think of DX and everything they did, they had a short run. So,
Wow.
Natural Disasters had a short run, but I mean, talk about two guys who looked like a perfect tag team,
Yeah.
and Hall of Fame, tag team Hall of Fame human beings because they're both great people. But with just Fred Ottman is a great guy. I mean, Fred Ottman, overcame a lot of stuff with the Shockmaster stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he still plays it up to this day. And then Earthquake had his run with the Shark, but once he went to WCW, but in WWF, Earthquake and Typhoon were both two, as Vince would say, two big hombres. Two big hombres,
Two big hombres.
Yeah. So if it's true, more power to them. Congratulations.
Yeah, I love it, man. I was, again, big fan of the natural disasters as a kid. They were always scary as hell. Earthquake for sure, because I remember the Hogan days. He was one of Hogan's biggest, I guess, is one of, I don't want to say his earliest rivals, but like in the 90s, I guess he was one of his biggest. And then that tag team was fantastic. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it and see when the next announcement is. I know there's more coming, but we are very excited to see Lex Luger in the Hall of Fame. But one quick thing I wanted to ask you as well before we jump into our favorite segment of the show.
Yeah,
you went to see the movie the Queen of the Ring this past week, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that because there's a lot of great buzz around it, and I wanted to know your thoughts.
Yeah, man. Went and saw Queen of the Ring, and man, what a really good movie. And I had people going, well, how would you rank it? I was like, I hate ranking movies, but
if you could rank the movies,
yeah. I mean, shout out to the cast too. Emily Bett Rickards plays Mildred Burke. That's Queen of the Ring is about Mildred Burke and her overcoming discrimination for women in the world of professional wrestling. For a good period there, professional wrestling was illegal. Women's professional wrestling was illegal.
Wow.
In certain states. So when she started in the carnival, in the carnivals. She met she was married to a former professional wrestler named Billy Wolf, who also became her manager, and they forged to get on shows, have women on professional wrestling shows. There are certain states that didn't allow it, but what I love about movies are period pieces. If you can watch it and it takes you back to that time,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll watch a movie like The Natural where Robert Redford.
Yeah.
I'm watching that movie and I am taken back to that time period. So Queen of the Ring takes place in the 1950s. And it covers a good portion of her life. And I'll say about Queen of the Ring, like I said about the Iron Claw, don't go into it thinking it's a documentary.
Right.
It's a movie. It's based on a true story. It's also based off of there's a book about Mildred Burke called "The Queen of the Ring: Muscles, Diamonds, and the Making of an American Legend" by Jeff Lean. So if you get a chance, go read that book. But the movie's based off that book, and there's a lot of familiar faces in the movie as well. Trinity Fatua, is in there.
Yeah.
She plays Ethel Johnson. Mickey James is in there as Fabulous Moolah. Britt Baker is in there as Debbie Nichols. Who else is in there? Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart. She was from the NWA. She's in AEW now. Camille.
That's it.
Yeah, she plays June Byers. They had her in there as her, she was in there as under her shoot name, brother. But well casted, well done. Shout out to Al Snow who helped. Al Snow and Ohio Valley Wrestling, who helped train a lot of the actress actors for the movie. The film was shot in Louisville, so that only makes it a whole world of sense. But great movie. If I could say anything, it's kind of like a league of their own for professional wrestling.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, and league of their own is like how they had the women's league start up, while the men were all fighting in the wars. But the women, this was their original women's wrestling revolution, because not only did women fight to get on professional wrestling cards, but women of color also
Mm-hmm.
fought to get on professional wrestling cards as well. And Trinity Fatu plays one of the characters that helps forge their way for African American women to get on the professional wrestling card. So the movie's really well done. It was a little long, about 2 hours, but you didn't feel like 2 hours. And if you happen to go see it in the theater, stay through the credits, because it's really nice, really touching thing they do where they show, they'll show the actor portraying the wrestler, and then they'll show the real life.
Oh, that's
wrestler.
cool. That's cool.
So, like, the best thing about this movie is you don't need to be a professional wrestling fan to enjoy the story. There's things that are done, talking about the business. It's kind of explained what this is, what that is, without beating you over the head with it. But at the end of the movie, they show you who the real people are behind these characters, and it's really, really cool.
Awesome.
Oh, and also shout out to Francesca Eastwood. She plays Mae Young.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Mae Young's portrayed in this, and Francesca, who plays Mae Young, is she plays a Spitfire in the movie, just like real life Mae Young. So that was really cool. And there's also, they portray a young, gorgeous George in the movie.
Nice.
So because he was along with that. He helped launch, professional wrestling, as far as wrestling being on television.
Yeah.
Professional wrestling was huge in the launch of the golden age of TV. So, these wrestlers, Mildred Burke and Gorgeous George and everybody in this movie were a huge part of wrestling being on TV. And when you look now and see how much content there is on TV, pro wrestling to this day is still a huge part of, television broadcasting and, entertainment. So, and it all started back there with Mildred Burke and Gorgeous George. So I definitely recommend Queen of the Ring. If you get a chance to see it in the theater, go support them. Go see it in the theater, and then what comes out in streaming, support whatever streaming device they're on. But it's such a great movie. It took me back in time. It took me back to a period of time I didn't live in, but I felt like I was there.
I'm excited to see the flick. I know friends of mine were at I think it was at the New York premiere. And I was supposed to go, and get a chance to go, but I'm very excited to see the movie. Looking forward to it. I heard a lot of really great things about it. So
it's playing for a little bit in the theater, so you might still have time.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to go check it out. I'm sure it's probably in one of the local theaters here. If not, it's in Philly. Yeah. So definitely looking forward to it. But thank you.
Being a frugal pro wrestler, I went to the early show to save 25% off.
That is exact. Well, listen, man, being a frugal guy myself, I get it. I would have done the same thing, man. Totally.
Here I am. Go support him, but
I'm going to
go during the day. I'm a walking contradiction, folks.
Well, listen, sir, I had a quick question for you, if I may, real quick, just before we tie up here. Are you ready to ask Meanie?
I would love to. It's time to ask Meanie anything. Ask me something.
Don't forget to tweet us your questions using the hashtag #AskMeanie, and you may hear them on the program. And Meanie, what are you sipping on today, good sir?
Oh man, I failed everybody. I just got good old-fashioned water today.
That's all right, man. I will.
With everything going on, I don't know whether to scratch my watch or wind my ass right now. So
winding your ass. I'll sip on something for both of us today. I got the generic shit from Aldi. I have the pink grapefruit, which is my favorite. I'll give a yo cuz on that one.
Yo cuz.
And I'm gonna crack this sucker here in 3, 2, 1.
Cracking for 2.
Yes, sir. Just double that up, Carl. It'll be fine. Pinkies up, friends. Oh, it's good shit. Speaking of that, finally got my my championship hat here. I don't know if I had a chance to show you.
Nice.
Finally got this. Shout out to Muscle Man Malcolm, who went out and grabbed a hat for me while he was getting his. So,
yeah, if my head wasn't so fucking large, bro. The snapbacks, I'm on the last fucking snap.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, it's just for display here, so I'll have it hanging up somewhere.
That's true too. I could probably just grab one for just. I still have one from the last Super Bowl I've never worn. So
we got 3 questions here for you today. Aaron Atherton wants to know, hey, Blue and Goob, good morning. Who do you think should induct the natural disasters?
Yeah, that's a great question. But at this point, I'm sure they'll probably maybe have a who would induct them?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I'm thinking they'll probably have a family member do it, maybe. Typhoon's son, Fred Ottman's son, Low Inside Baseball, his son Berkeley is the timekeeper for WWE. So
shit.
Not that it's a big secret, but Berkeley Ottman, his son is the timekeeper. Maybe they'll have Berkeley put him in.
The boss says Jimmy Hart for the disasters. That's actually not a bad. Yeah,
that's actually great. Jimmy could come out and not get booed this time.
Poor Jimmy. Jimmy was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, man.
Jimmy caught some shrapnel.
Here is poor Jimmy Hart just bringing joy and laughter.
Fucking booing me, baby.
Everybody, what's happening, baby? He's here bringing joy and light to everyone. He's getting fucking booed.
Most likable guy in the history of professional wrestling, Jimmy Hart.
I've met a handful of people in these travels while I've been working in the professional wrestling space, and Jimmy Hart was one of the nicest people, at the top of that fucking list. Yeah. So poor guy. Carlo Carlson, Coke Zero, my favorite drink. Thank you for your support as always, sir. Hey, Blue and Goob, I got an Ask Meanie. What are your favorite sports teams outside of Pennsylvania? Oh. Love the pod. Keep them coming. They brighten my Mondays. Thank you for listening, sir.
Oof. Outside of Pennsylvania. Slim and none.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a diehard Philly sports fan, but I won't lie. And, I'm a Philly fan first, sports fan second,
Yeah.
I'll watch other teams, and as long as it doesn't negatively affect my Philadelphia Eagles or my Philadelphia Phillies, I'll check them out. Like I always said, I have I like the Buffalo Bills, because sometimes I base teams I root for off of cities I've wrestled and liked. I'll root for the Bills. Sometimes I'll root for the Ravens.
Yeah,
because I had a pretty good time. I have great memories of working in Baltimore, and we're great memories working in Buffalo. So probably, off the top of my head, probably the Bills and the Ravens, and of course, the cockroach Cowboy fans go, well, I mean, you're the Blue Meanie, and the Cowboys colors are blue. I was like, well, the Bills have a nicer blue, actually.
First and foremost, yeah.
Yeah, the Bills, I more relate to the Buffalo Bills brand of blue. Thank you. Hey, have you seen, oh my God, did you see the footage of Dak Prescott is on vacation somewhere, and he's walking through the hotel, and this bachelorette party gives him the EAGLES Eagles. That just broke on social media. That's been all over TikTok. Guys, on his vacation with his wife catching strays.
No peace, sir. Never, ever.
No.
Fucking gang day. Gang burn.
Never any peace. Fuck the Cowboys.
Yeah. F them in their A.
That's exactly right. And if you don't know what that means, ask somebody. But I don't know if I have any teams outside of Pennsylvania that I like. Obviously, longtime listeners know I lived in Pittsburgh for a year. So I have a special affinity for the Steelers. Just because Pittsburgh's a very different city right? Like when the Steelers play, everything basically stops. Like it just shuts down. The entire city stops and watches the game. Like it's I remember at my shoot job, there was a guy, working in the office, and I'd asked him to do something. I can't remember what it was. And he was like, well, I'll come in, but the Steelers are playing at whatever time it was, 3 or 4. He's like, so I have to leave by a certain time. And that's just the culture out there. Like the entire city is the same way. And so it's hard when you live somewhere not to kind of get caught up in that and feel a part of it, you know? So I think for me, there's a special affinity and a special love for all things Pittsburgh, and the Steelers as well. But I mean, like Meanie, I'm a Philly guy through and through, and that's just the way it is.
It's not a violation because I'll say this, and if you notice, the 2 teams I picked are AFC teams.
Right.
NFC, so you could kind of root for the Steelers and not feel like a crumb. They're in the state, so you're still supporting the state economy, and they're in the AFC, so they don't directly compete with the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, and one time the Eagles and the Steelers were the same team. They were the Pennsylvania Steagles during the wartime when a lot of players had to go off to fight in a war.
Yep.
And for 1 year, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles were the same team. So
So again, it's
not a violation.
Technically, we're still on par. So
yes.
I'm coast to coast here in Pennsylvania. It's through and through. Can't help myself.
Yeah.
Last question of the day, ECWWrestling.com at ECW website on Twitter.
Okay.
In ECW's final 2 or 3 months, there were some wrestlers who were new to the company.
Yeah.
Oz, Chris Kruger, Phoenix, Mike Bell, Johnny Devine, Michael Shane, and others. Do you have any stories about them and who likely could have helped later in 2001 had ECW continued?
You said Chris Kruger, right?
Chris Kruger is on that list. Yep.
And if my memory serves me correct, he was the fan Brian Pillman pulled over the guardrail.
Really?
And Pillman debuted in ECW. Chris had been training for a while with JT Smith, bouncing around the indies. And I wasn't there when he got hired. There's some of those names. I know Mike Bell because Mike's had been wrestling for a long time, and his brother Chris makes great documentaries.
Sorry to interrupt. Mike Bell, is that Perry Saturn Mike Bell?
Yes.
Okay. I thought
same Mike Bell. Unfortunately, they had that incident, but Mike, great dude. So Michael Shane, I believe, was one of Shawn Michaels' students.
Okay.
And I'm not familiar with the other names, but a little inside, useless knowledge. Chris Kruger was the redheaded kid that Pillman pulled over the guardrail and was going to stab him, before everybody ran out.
Do you think it would have done anything? Do you think they would have been kind of elevated had ECW had continued?
I'm not sure. There was some talent that were about to, there's a tag team called the Backseat Boys. Johnny Cashmere and Trent Acid. They were about to start in ECW. Some of the last, I know they were backstage at the last ECW Arena show. I was like, oh shit, what's up, guys? And they were set to, eventually start with the company. So I always say this, if ECW hadn't gone away, it would have slowly become a little bit like Ring of Honor.
Okay.
Gabe Sapolsky, who was one of the bookers for Ring of Honor, was already working for ECW. He's one of Paul's proteges.
Mm-hmm.
Great mind for the business. Still doing stuff with he does stuff with WWF or WWE. I think ECW would have slowly became more like Ring of Honor. And there's some guys who are coming in. Christopher Daniels had a match in ECW. I'm just going off of memory. But they're definitely looking into bringing like newer tower. Christian York and Joey Matthews had a good run. They were doing things in ECW towards the end there. We didn't know it was going to be the end, but and I was only there for like a couple months towards the end. So, but that's they were definitely going that way of Ring of Honor if they had stuck around.
I often wonder. I often wonder what ECW and WCW would have been like.
Matt
Oh yeah.
Sanity also brings up a good point. Kruger was one of the guys holding up a BWO sign when we debuted,
Oh, that's crazy.
along with Chris Candido's brother Johnny Candido.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, and one of the kids fell over. If you watch the picketers come over the guardrail, one of them falls. And I think that was Johnny Candido's friend or whatever, but it was kind of cool. Yeah,
That's funny. What else is kind of cool, sir, is doing this show with you each and every week, answering these questions for our listeners. Thank you so much for sending them in. We genuinely appreciate it. And don't forget to use the hashtag #AskMeanie, and you may hear them on the show. But Meanie, you know what time it is, sir?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It is that time, good sir. I want to thank you again for being here. Where can everybody keep up to date with all things blue when they're not listening to the program?
If you would like to follow the Blue Mini on all forms of social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, at Blue Mini BWO on all forms of social media. If you would like to support the Blue Mini, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Mini. If you'd like to support Mind of the Meanie, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. MadCatBeardCare.com. Get Blue Spruce Beard Oil and Balm. Shout out to my boy Josh Thorne, who's doing an amazing job over there. If you're a cat lover like myself, all the proceeds go towards Josh helping take care of all the feral cats in this neighborhood. So go to Blue Spruce. Yeah, go to Blue Spruce. Go to MadCatBeardCare.com. Get the Blue Spruce Beard Oil and Balm. The Ultra Pro Wrestling video game coming to all major consoles. Ultra Pro Wrestling contains not only original characters by the amazing Hal Haney, but many real-world wrestlers, including myself and many others. Go to ultraprowrestling.com or follow them on Twitter at UPW Video Game. That's ultraprowrestling.com. Or follow them on Twitter at UPW Video Game. The figure collection's bone crushing. This one's always a tongue twister. Let me anytime I make it through clean, it's like a miracle. It's like I stuck the landing. But the figure collection's bone crushing Wrestler Series 1's variants of the Blue Mini are available now. All Series 1s can be ordered right now at shop.figurecollections.com. That's shop.figurecollections.com. Type Blue Meanie in the search bar. Get a regular Blue Meanie or BWO Blue Meanie. Either way, there is no wrong choice. To have the Blue Meanie on your podcast, go to podstars.net. That's podstrz.net. Register your podcast. Book the Blue Guy, and let's have a conversation over there at podstars.net. Cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO for birthdays, holidays, and well wishes. Book through the site, not through the app. The app takes way too much of your hard-earned cash. But like I did a couple this past week. I had a great time. And the best thing about doing those videos is the reviews. So people saying how it made somebody's day a little bit better. So let's make somebody's day a little bit better over there at cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO. But most importantly, Mr. Barnard, where can we find you, sir?
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, kind sir. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and I'm not really on Blue Sky anymore. So you can find me at those two places. You can find me at This Is Goober. Yes, it's my handle. No, I'm not changing it. It's a brand, pal. So go and check me out there. Don't forget to check out my stuff over at ScreenRant.com. I'm a news writer and an interviewer over there. And I'll have you know, I just broke news. Usually I'm breaking wind. That's right. But I broke news this week that Booker T's Reality of Wrestling is actually expanding into two additional shows on their YouTube page. So go ahead and read that entire conversation right now over at ScreenRant.com. Shout out to Booker and Brad Gilmore. Thank you so much for the opportunity and all the other things I'm writing over there. So go check it out. Don't forget to go visit my homies at the 10th Ward Barbershop in downtown Lawrenceville on the outskirts of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Go and see Kane, Jordan, and the rest of the team. Get your hair looking fresh and your beard looking trimmed. Sign up today or register for your appointment at 10th Ward Barbershop.com. ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. Pick up a shirt and keep the lights on at Casa de Meanie and the Barnard Home for Wayward and Troubled Youth. Don't forget to go to Patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. Tiers start at just $10. And when you sign up, you get a membership card, part of the Pod Squad, signed in blue ink by the blue guy himself. So go sign up today at patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. Go up above Meanie's head there, youtube.com/@mindofthemeanie. All of our archive is available there, our entire shows. And don't forget to follow us on all of our social media channels right down here at Mind of the Meanie. We appreciate you. We want to thank our friends at One True Sport for hosting our show each and every week. We appreciate you guys very, very much. And go support them as well by picking up a shirt. And also, we want to thank you for listening and being a part of us. Leave a review, share it with your friends, share it with somebody at Wawa that you don't like. Whatever you want to do, we appreciate you. For the Blue Meanie, I am Adam Barnard. Join us again each and every week as we take a trip to the mind of the Meanie. Peace.
Blue World Order.
This episode of Mind of the Meanie is hosted and executively produced by the Blue Meanie and Adam Barnard. It was mixed and engineered by Carl Pinnell. Additional narration is provided by the executive voice, Sam Krebs. That's me. Our intro music was performed by the Swamp Candles. Our outro music was performed by Chikara. Additional musical accompaniment is performed by Enrichment. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, or X or whatever, at Mind of the Meanie, and become part of the Pod Squad by going to patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. Find our entire show archive at mindofthemeanie.com. This has been a Butts Carlton media production. Butts Carlton, proprietor.
Blue World Order.
Dad, why is Blue Meanie's brain out?